This
and prevent.
conference will now be recorded.
Oh, sorry.
That's right. The rule also requires water systems to include clear health language about the dangers of lead, and the consumer confidence reports will also provide information about testing for lead in schools and childcare facilities, and will tell consumers where they can find the water system's lead service lead replacement plan. MLGW agrees when pipes are disturbed, they could release lead. This was addressed in the appreciative inquiry in 1996. Because of that, they pass out water filters when pipes are disturbed. They believe there is no need to test the water after they disturb the pipe because they realize lead will be released. I don't agree with their policy because they leave it up to the homeowner to ask for a test when most citizens don't have information needed to make the right decision. The agreement we had with EPA and state officials instructed MLG&W that lead water lines that are disturbed will be tested and that information documented. When plumbers and maintenance men or homeowners disturb lead lines, families risk exposure to lead, and they should have to follow the same procedures as MLG&W when it comes to protecting the home. We're not telling the public the real facts. The county plumbing department should become part of this conversation on how to protect the public from lead exposure. Who is going to tell the public if lead lines are disturbed, lead will be released? Memphis is documented as a chronically lead poisoned community. The health department records prove that. We should follow the protocol used by the federal government when testing their own property for lead. They select a percentage to be tested. Out of the 1,000, they may choose 35. If any of the 35 test positive, they must test those that were not tested or assume they are all positive. Memphis has never been less than 90% of those tested having some level of lead exposure. All the children should be classified as lead poison. Earlier exposed children are adults now. Many have never been told they were lead poisoned. Poison levels started at 20 micrograms per deciliter. Now they're at 3.5 micrograms per deciliter. In reality, there is no safe level. Any level of lead in the water is too much. 5 micrograms per deciliter calls for action, and 3.5 in the blood is lead poison. Compared to some samples taken from hot water tanks in Memphis, ranging as high as 3,500 parts per microgram per deciliter. This is a prime reason to never use hot water. When environmental defense performed this procedure, it's called research. Why wasn't ours considered in that same light? We are citizen scientists. Any level of lead in certain areas and certain people is too much. The priority should be a filter program and giving the community knowledge. Some MLGW employees accuse me of scaring people. I guess that depends on who you're protecting. We have just completed our first movie titled Lead Watch 911. Community activists and organizations concerned about the health of our community participated, and has been relayed that we did a good job of explaining our needs. A presentation can be arranged for those that desire. Since resigning from MLG in 1999, I have dedicated myself to protecting our community, and that will continue.
All right. Thank you so much, Chet. So, one, congratulations for the documentary. It was an honor to be able to participate. I know I travel so much. I have still haven't been able to go to any of the filmings, but just so excited to see it all come together. And one of the things that I think is so, despite like the tragedy that we're experiencing with lead poisoning in Memphis and Shelby County, is that we had members of government. So shout out to Anita Tate. That just brings my heart so much joy to see people who work in government. Oftentimes when we think about government, it's not always held in high regard from a community perspective. But I think being able to demonstrate a model of what collaboration between people who are truly public servants, which is far too slim, and these agencies with people that we pay tax payer dollars for. But it was just such a joy to be a part of that. Um, to follow up with some of the updates that we got from MLGW. So I think it was, ooh, time is a blur at this point. Recently, there was a roundtable that MLGW hosted, and at this roundtable, they gave some updates on not just their lead service line replacement like program, but a pilot. So essentially, what this pilot entails, they are trying to figure out how do they take full service line replacement to scale. So part of that is in response to EPA's mandate where you have to do full service line replacement. I will say that they put a lot of intentionality in how they wanted to roll it out. There was a letter that went out almost a little over a year, back in November 2023, which this body, the LPC, Chet, your organization, the Green and Healthy Homes Initiative, Sister Reach, Protect Our Aquifer, the Environmental Defense Fund, the Sierra Club. I know I'm leaving out some folks. There was a very diverse list of organizations, both locally and nationally, that sent in a pretty much recommendations to MLGW around how they should implement and prioritize lead service line replacement. So some of those recommendations, one was notification to all of the residents that had lead service lines that's been being asked for a long time. Um, so they have sent them out to all of the residents that have lead service lines. That's also now a requirement with the new lead and copper rule improvements. Um, they did show us what the actual like postcard looks like. It's clean. Where I know historically they used to send out letters, and we had given them a significant amount of feedback saying those letters are triggering. We even had community members to reach out to us that were scared or just didn't understand it. So with the postcard, and I'll be sure to include this on the record, with what those postcards look like, because they do have examples now on their new and improved website. So it's much easier to understand. So that's one. The second thing, is around the inventory itself. So the inventory looks completely different in a better way than it did historically. So one of the requests and recommendations that we had to MLGW is to tell us what exists on both sides of the line. Historically, in the previous GIS map or inventory map, it just told you what existed on the public side. Now it tells you what's on the private and the public side. However, the inventory is still not complete. Now, they did get a significant amount updated. That was another piece of feedback that we gave, where in the original inventory map, some of the data like was old. It wasn't confirmed because they were going off of old records. So now when you look at the map, it's extremely detailed. So it tells you, like to the best of their ability, like when it was confirmed, if it's lead, if it's galvanized or what have you. It's also a legend and it's color coded and it tells you what type of line it is. And then like for like the circle indicator that's color coded, it has a line through the middle of that circle that indicates like what exists on either side, or both sides of the line. Now, they do acknowledge, that they got still some work to do with identification. So there is still a significant amount of unknowns. So they are aware of that. The other recommendation, that we gave to them, was around, well, they didn't follow through with this all the way. We asked them would they release a beta version of the map before they released it to the general public, and they didn't. They just put it out there. They did a lot of press around it, and we can see because we're on that website. We can see them making tweaks here and there in real time. Where I really think that they're trying to make it cleaner, um, which is good. I mean, let me see if and I'll try to put it in the chat for those folks who are online. Give me 1 second while I try to pull this up, and then I'll make sure that I drop it in the chat. So those people who are with us virtually will be able to see it as well. So this is a huge change because the previous website, if you remember, if you wanted to go to the map, it literally was at the bottom, or you could access it to the left column and you have to scroll down. It wasn't like apparent, it was very hidden. Now it's very like bold, So I'm dropping it in the link to those individuals. It's a drastic improvement. Again, it's not perfect. There's still, always going to be room for improvement. But I think what was still a kind of, like affirming is that some of the recommendations that came from community show up in what they did. So I'm not sure if everybody had seen it. And then to those of you all who, I'm like, I might be able to share my screen. Actually, I'm acting like I don't know how to use technology. Um, Let me see right quick if I can share my screen. I sure can. All right. Oh, is it gonna, it looks like it's gonna give me a hard time. Sorry to those who join virtually. If you just go on the link, you'll be able to see it clearly. But essentially, I mean, like this is like night and day. I wish that I had took a screenshot or downloaded the previous page, so it's really clean. Even with like how you access like just quickly what you're trying to find. Right, it's at the very top. It's not a lot of words up here. Then if you go to like the overview, it's very concise about what this program entails. It also gives you information around like making the connection back to the requirement with the EPA. Then the inventory map, I'll go there in just a second. The inventory map is also significantly improved. Then they also, um, and I like this, they also now have like a specific branded email address that didn't exist at first. Still, and they changed their phone number because we had to figure that out the hard way. But they changed the phone number, which is fine. Here it also has the information about the postcards. So if you were to go to this website and let's say for example like you do have a lead service line or you didn't get a postcard, you now have access to an email where you can let them know that you didn't receive it. Something else that I was very very proud of them about that didn't exist at first, it's in Spanish and it's in English. And so you can actually um, click on the different types of postcards. So it's three different types of postcards. One is for the customers that have unknown. The other one is if you have confirmed lead, and the other one is for galvanized, which I thought was really cool. So you can click on it and it shows you exactly what it looks like. It again it's clean. That usually doesn't happen with utility providers. No shade, they're engineers, they're technical. It sometimes is a lot. So I like the fact that they have it online so you know what it looks like. And so like if you were like, what is this? Is this spam? You know that you'll have a point of reference to be able to find it. Now, Chet, in response to your other like concerns around a filtering program, while I'm excited that there's a pilot, it's still a pilot. Um, that means that I mean it's a long road to 10 years. I would be remiss not to acknowledge that we also have a new administration that's coming in. There's nothing that precludes him from rolling back the lead and copper rule improvements. If it is rolled back, then we would default back to the original LCR with Trump's rule. Trump actually did a update during his first administration or his first term where it wasn't awful. It wasn't nearly as good as this one, but it wasn't as bad as like the one that preceded the Trump era. We're gonna hope and pray that it's not touched. But with the filtering component, I do think that there should be some education around filtering. Now, this is from my experience, water utility providers, they won't say it. They won't talk about the only way that they will talk about filters is if they have started to do work or they're about to start work and then they give you, the filter. But from a public health perspective, if you know that you got lead service lines, you need to filter your water. So I do think that there needs to be a bit more uh, investment with making sure that that information is distributed. Also, something else that's on the website that I was really proud of them about is they talk about all the other different ways you could be exposed to lead besides just lead and water. Um, Now, they also have like some other things around reducing your risk. So they do have right here, it's on here to say, they say use water filters, and they talk about making sure that it's certified to remove lead. I think that water filters are expensive. They real high. I think it's a money issue. So I'm proud of them that at least they have it, because this is a long time coming for them to even say filter and to like inform folks like you need to use a filter. But yeah, but at least they doing it now.
Well, I'd like to say on that though, is that the health department, the plumbing department, in my opinion, needs to take some responsibility, because like gas and water admits that if they disturb the line, it's going to release lead. That's why they had to agree to pass out filters. Nobody's telling plumbers when you disturb the line, inform the homeowner. And in some cities they do that. And I think that it's really important that we really focus on the filter program, because if we understand where our people are as far as the exposure level in Memphis, chronically lead poisoned people, is that one of the most important things that we need to do is we say educate. And that's what both groups are afraid to say. Like gas and water doesn't want to tell people that if you disturb the lines, it's going to be lead. Because the hell, I talked to the chief plumbing inspector, he was like, well, shit, like gas and water say. So that's where the community, our organizations like ours, are going to have to be one to educate the people. Because anytime a line is disturbed, there's a good chance it's going to be lead. And like gas and water had to admit this under the debrief inquiry, and so by you admitting it and us not sharing it to the public, we still leaving our people at a deficit exposure. And I think the key thing that most people don't understand, the level of lead poisoning is way more dangerous than lead paint. And that's why I gave that example in that letter I gave you. When we talk about lead in the blood at 3.5, or lead in the water at 5, it's time to be concerned. We took water samples when we were doing our research, and we found some hot water tanks as high as 3,500. Okay, and that's another reason we talk about why you don't use hot water. But these are things that our community is not aware of. And the reason we did the hot water tank thing is that we went behind Environmental Defense Fund, and they did it as a study, research. And I like that idea. That was great. When we did it, it was looked at as a negative, not a positive. And we are a citizen scientist. I take pride in that. So the fact that we've done research, we get shot down instead of being patted on the back and say, hey, you did the right thing. We wasn't trying to embarrass like gas and water. But what we was trying to do is prove what you were saying is improper. They kept saying we don't have a problem with lead in the water. And I remember a president of like gas and water,
JT Young,
told a person we know who's very knowledgeable that we don't have a problem with lead in the water.
You can make it plain. The previous MLGW president, JT Young, sent me an email in writing and said that they did not have any, he was not unaware that there were issues with lead in the water, and he sent this to a county email. So it's all right. You can say it on the record. It's in a public email.
Some of my board members, Maxine and some of them, they appreciate that when you mention about who did the talking about the RRP, what organization told you, you didn't say who it was. You said it was an anonymous person. They want you to know that you ain't got to hide it. They told me to tell. They want to know, and that's part of it. We take the same position as a lot of the nonprofits. It's time for us to stand up and be out front about what's going on with our community. And one thing I can say, and I've said it to like gas and water, I've never done anything behind any of them's back. I tell them when there's a problem. We ask them to fix it, and when you don't fix it, then we take action. And the RRP rule, when I say this, and I'll hush, we went to the lady after she a year ahead of time. After we found out she messed up again, we went to her and said, look, have the contractor stop doing that work until they get trained. She told me she couldn't. And to me, that was the reason. When I got with Latricia, and I said, okay, it's time to for us to say.
Yeah, we got that on the agenda item to discuss in detail. But I think so we can, and I need to make sure this one person that's online, I need to make sure that they don't want to make public comment. So I do have what we can do is follow back up with MLGW and talk about what their plan is around communicating what the protocols and procedures are should they disturb a line. It could be something that they can add to the website. It also can be something that they essentially demonstrate to us, like, what do you do? Like, do you send, what type of notification do you send? Do you call the people? Are you sending something in advance? Like you sent these postcards out. Do you do something similar? I don't know.
Is there
Like
like
what?
gas and water? You're talking about plumbing. You're talking about like gas.
Like gas and
Is there a
water?
legal standard? Is there a legal precedent or a standard that's been established?
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
I think they do that. They send out notice.
Oh, they do?
They do that.
Okay.
Well, like I say that, we documented that. Every share we hear, but they send out and let people know they're coming.
Okay. So
They might
what?
not do it as soon as some people would like them to.
So what's the recommendation on that?
Well, I know what they do now. They send it out. I don't know how far ahead, but they actually send it to the homeowners and let them know that they're going to be working on their street in the very near future.
So okay, so based on like your comment, like what action do you want us to take around disturbing the line?
I think that's a discussion that needs to take place with the Shelby County Plumbing Department.
Oh, with plumbing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, because
Sorry, MLGW.
Okay, no, it's Shelby County because I talked to the chief plumbing inspector, and
who is that individual?
I can give you his name.
Okay.
Yeah, he just took it over. I talked with him,
and this is a county employee.
Oh yeah, he's the chief plumbing inspector.
Okay, I didn't even know that this role existed. I learned something.
He said the same thing to me that Light Gas and Water said. When I brought it up to Light Gas and Water, somebody needs to tell the people whenever plumbing is disturbed, it's going to release lead. Because Light Gas and Water missed that. That's why they give out the filter.
Oh, so you're saying that like the actual like plumbers that are like going to do the work, like they're not like
they're just doing the work. They're not saying, hey, we disrupted this line. Now we need to issue notification that we disrupted this line.
And tell the homeowner if you don't give them a filter, tell the homeowner how to protect themselves.
Got you.
There needs to be something in place. Light Gas and Water has to do that. And that's why when we took them to court.
I apologize on the record to MLGW where I misunderstood. I am so sorry, MLGW, that you were doing what you were supposed to do. Yes.
But nobody else is. And the fact that they admit it and they do it, then what are we saying about these other groups? And then people don't know that something should happen. So anyway, when I talked to the chief plumbing inspector, his thing was to tell Light Gas and Water should tell people. I talked to Light Gas and Water field, the plumbing department should tell people. You know,
so it's a pattern of
right. Nobody wants.
Well, at least MLGW, I mean, they did say something.
Well, they said something for their stuff. See, Light Gas and Water, and they say it quietly. See, Light Gas and Water does it. We disturb your line, we give you a filter. They're not giving them a notice saying that if anybody disturbs.
So you're saying, okay, so you're saying that like when MLGW does like a replacement on the public side, they say, hey, like resident, we're about to disturb your line, blase blase whoop de whoop. But when people have secured like to do work on the private side, those respective plumbers, whatever, they're not doing their due diligence. They don't have a mandate.
Right. Nobody.
Okay.
And then Light Gas and Water doesn't want to be the one to say to the public. They can say to the homeowner, look, it don't matter who work on your line, it's going to disturb lead. You know, if you got bad water lines, they need to be careful. So nobody wants to really, we talk about inform the community. Nobody really wants to be the one to tell them.
Is everything on?
Yeah, that's going to be an issue. And the thing that I'm trying to express in here is that our community, and I got to keep saying, but our community is so sick. Any exposure in some communities is too much. We are a chronically very poisoned community. And so we have to be looked at differently. And so for us not to have a filter program.
Is it David Vacant? Does that sound familiar?
Yeah. No, he's not. He's retired.
Dang.
The guy that took over, that's probably why it's probably not in there, because he had to scratch out the card that he gave me. I'm sorry I don't have it with me, but I'll get that to you. I'll get that to you.
Okay.
But David Vacant just retired because I had talked to him about it previously. And he agreed. And he knew how seriously it was. So
pretty much, but okay. So I understand why MLGW, they can't enforce because they're not a regulatory entity. But I'm now wondering, okay, so even with the county, I'm like, it goes back to your question. what legal something
Yeah.
exists, and if it's not something, then does that mean, I don't even know, does that mean that it requires like a local mandate from the city and the county? I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
Well, what I also going to ask if, and I don't know if I do it through you or if I could do it through one of my representatives, I would like to do a 10-minute presentation to the Shelby County Board of Commissioners. And in that, I would like to share with them the research that I've done, the things that we know, how serious our problem is, and what I think is maybe some of the solutions. And so that needs to be a discussion with plumbers. They need to be talked about. So it's not about forcing them to do it, it's to making them aware. And then if you make the homeowner aware, the homeowner can hold them responsible. And that's what EPA does under the right to know law, on the RP law. You have to give the homeowner a book that tells them how to check your work, right? Just like they go in there. And so the homeowner knows that he ain't supposed to be living paint chips on the ground. He ain't supposed to be doing this. Okay. And that's part of where we got to get at our community. Our community is so sick. And I keep saying that because a lot of us in here, you know how sick it is. A lot of people in the community don't know how sick it is. And I don't know if you've seen the article that shows that autism went up by 400%. And it went up in a particular year. The people between 18 and 29, it's growing 400% at a speed that they've never seen before. But what it is that's people who were lead poisoned that were never told they was lead poisoned, and the autism is kicking in now. You know, and as you read the article, you can see it. And if you know, which I've been studying, you know, I've been in this for over 40 years, you can see it now. And it was already talked about. What are you gonna do about the people you missed? So when you had it at 20 and you told all the people under 20 they wasn't sick, you know, et cetera, et cetera. That went all the way down to now. But they always said there's no safe level. Okay, because lead is an cumulative poison. That's the other thing our community doesn't know about chronic lead poisoning. It really exists.
Okay, so I'm trying to focus on like
you know, you have to shut me down. I get started.
a strategy. So what we can do, I do think, because I mean, thank you for sharing this, because I didn't notice. I think like so again, like I get like MLGW is like, look, we ain't finna own oversight and accountability for plumbers that ain't got nothing to do with them. They ain't on our payroll. I'm gonna side with them a little bit on that. With the chief plumbing inspector. Now so let me ask you this. So with the chief plumbing inspector, no, they wouldn't have anybody that would be doing anything with lead service line replacement that would be contracted with the county, right? That's weird. So he wouldn't have the authority either.
Well, he's saying moving lines, but they work on lines every day. The plumbers do work. They go out. They work on lines.
But they're not contracted by the county.
No,
that's what I'm saying. Oh no! Wait. They're licensed. The plumbers are licensed by the county.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Well, let me put it in the better perspective.
See, that's why we be needing an attorney in here.
As an electrician, electricians have to be licensed to be able to pull permits. As a gas, I'm a mechanical contractor, et cetera, et cetera. You have to be licensed. I'm a plumbing contractor. You have to be licensed.
And Shelby County issues that license.
Oh yeah. And you have to pull permits. So you can't just go out. You can't even. Most people don't know. You can't even change the toilet legally without pulling a permit.
So if I'm a resident and I'm gonna pay on my own to get my lead service line replaced on my side of the line, so I get a plumber. My plumber, in order to be the plumber and do the work, they have to be licensed through the county, and then who does the permit?
The plumber has to pull
the plumber has to do the permit.
But the homeowner has to be sharp enough to require people to pull permits if they're doing work that requires a permit. I'm gonna be honest, a lot of people have people do work they're not licensed. And then when you have a problem, and if they get caught, you gotta pay triple permit fee now. So if you let somebody do some work and code finds out, if the permit was $100, now it's $300. And not only that, then they can make you pull stuff out. They can make you tear the walls down. I got a friend now, they're making them pull the roof off, you know, et cetera, et cetera. You know, so plumbing needs to be put in the same category. And I was a cross connection inspector, and I always felt that water was more dangerous than many of those things. Because electricity is going to electrocute somebody, you don't know what's going on, and they kill them.
Right.
Gas is going to explode.
Water's going to be silent.
Water's going to silent killer. You know, just like in the Marine Corps, the sniper was the one everybody
and
feared.
You can't contain it because it's water.
Well, the point is people get poisoned, and it's over a long period of time. It's long-term poison. And, you know, they talk about, you know, that's caused death.
So, okay. Question. Who issues the permit?
Plumbing department.
So it's the same
Shelby
person.
County.
Okay, so it would be the
Shelby
chief
That
man.
chief.
Wow.
Yeah.
Issues.
And they have a
permit.
board.
Okay.
They have a board. You have a contractor's board for plumbing. You have a board for electricity. You have a board for the mechanical. And those people over the board is the one that looks at to make sure contractors are doing the right work. If you got a complaint as a homeowner, that goes to the board. I was on the electrical contractors board for over 8 years. You know, so when homeowners get messed over by an electrician, or they get a contract and they don't finish their work, or they don't do it right, they can lose their license. Okay, so and that's something that can happen with the plumbing. To me, we've got to educate the public, and I know you give like this for the credit. I know I'm kind of hard on, but I don't think they're being truthful enough, because the way they explain to people when they get them a filter, oh, it's just a precaution. You know, it's just something we're doing. It's not a precaution, and you need to use it because it's been proved by EPA and everybody. If you shake those lines, lead don't release. And like Gas and Water says this in meetings with management, but they don't say it out in the public. Okay, they said in the meeting when I had to meet with them, I was like, well, check, there's no need to test after we disturb the line because we know it's going to release lead. And see, that's my biggest issue. You know, we used to talk about that. They supposed to test the line whenever they disturb it. That's what EPA told them to do over 10 years ago. I got that letter to show you.
So I want to pin, you know, I'm solutions oriented. Okay, yeah. So wait. Okay, I'm gonna put a pin in that. Okay. Because I'm still on the stuff with the chief plumbing person. Okay, so one, okay, I also have a question about liability. So, man, and
you mean Shelby County?
Yes.
Because they cover.
They're the one that's issuing the permit. So, for example, when I used to work for the district, so even though like Memphis Shelby County Schools did not issue out a permit, if you work for me and you at these schools and you doing something crazy, my role in the district is if you do something wrong, I'm finna throw you under the bus. I'm finna go to the state and we both finna work together to take your license away because you're not gonna have implications to the district. So you're gonna be on your own. But I'm wondering, like, and maybe it's because this hasn't happened before, so it would be like setting a precedent. I'm now wondering, like, what does liability look like if you are the entity that is issuing out the permits, the licenses? Where does that, like, what's the liability with that? And has that even been assessed? And then the other part of that is from a federal perspective with the implementation of this new rule, what I don't know what happens like on the plumbing side. Now, granted, this new rule is 800 pages. It might be in there, I don't know. I'm literally going to reach out to EPA and get some guidance from them to see, like, what do you do?
The key thing that I've been reading about most of it is that it's passing out the knowledge, giving the knowledge.
Okay.
Because if people know, if the homeowner knows, just like if you know that you should have a licensed electrician come here and mess with your wires, or your house could burn down, or if you have gas done, your house could blow up. Okay, the same thing needs to happen with educating people about how dangerous water is, and then the plumbing department can take your license. I mean, I've gotten a call from them about a number of things. They said, you get over there and get this corrected on the next, or you don't pull no more permits. Same thing with a number of issues. So the plumbing department, mechanical department, and electric department have power, and they do use it if a homeowner complains about something where they have a legitimate thing where a contractor took their money and didn't do the work. You know, they license.
So there is remedy for things that are perceived as nuisances to the public. Right. But once it's perceived as a nuisance to the public, then there's remedies to take action. But this is not yet perceived as a nuisance to the public that they're responsible for. So I think the question is how do we make them realize that this is a nuisance that they should be responsible for so that they can now start to put action.
And that's why I was thinking that going in front of the Shelby County commissioners, I put together a little 10-minute film because they give you 10 minutes. And in those 10 minutes, I think we're doing a good job of showing all of the concerns. My goal was to try to share the 40 years of knowledge that I had in the research that we've been doing since we started at Lemoyne College, to put that in that 10-minute film. so that people sitting there can then understand how I feel like I do. Because I feel like the guy on the Green Mile. You seen the movie The Green Mile?
Mhm.
Okay, that's how I feel like him, because you force me to watch people illnesses, and then when I bring it up, I'm the bad guy. You know, and that's why I told you many times. I'm so glad that we have organizations that you came back and we got other people working to do this, because this really is bad when you look at the number of autism cases. I work with Lavonna, and the autism is on the rise in Memphis, and many people don't want to talk about it.
So,
Lead is the number one cause for autism.
okay, because yep, we
Oh, go
gotta
ahead, I'm
move
sorry.
on. So two things, and then I'll wrap this up. So one, and again, I promise I ain't trying to cape for MLGW. The Shelby County Health Department is out of order. They don't ever want to say anything about water. It is extremely problematic. Last year, a year from pretty much from today, when we had Director Taylor in here, y'all remember when I asked her, can you say something? Like, can you collaborate with MLGW? It's not that deep for you to not just only acknowledge lead being unsafe, like in paint, but in any form. And her response was, well, I will have to talk. Why you gotta talk to your boss? You doctor. You know that lead is dangerous. Now, with the new lead and copper rule improvement, it does say that your local health department has to be the entity that's working in tandem with your water utility provider, where they are the public health expert. So now with MLGW, they can post, general information, and like they did, like they have, like, that is dangerous. It's in water, it's in all these other things. But I did hear, and I'm gonna side with Doug. Doug is just like, I am not a public health person, and the water utility provider is not the public health person. So I even asked Doug, I'm like, do you think that y'all need to be trying to put diplomatic pressure on the health department for them to do their job? So I'll give you an example. In DC Water, in DC with DC Water, something similar happened where they're much further along in their lead service line replacement program. And so we had done a community workshop where DC Water goes in different parts of the city, and they do like 92-hour workshops with community members to explain like what the lead service line replacement is. We had gave some feedback that they incorporated around like preventative measures. It's really robust. We had a member of the public to say, where the health people at? They were right. Where y'all at? So DC Water is like, I'm not gonna get up here and go down a rabbit hole to talk about in great detail from like a public health perspective, because I'm here to talk about the lead service line replacement. So we listened. So we went back to the Department of Energy and Environment, because they do their like lead. The other part of the lead work is a little bit different. And so the Department of Energy and Environment, they started coming to those workshops. So what it looked like is you had DC Water, they talked about their job. They talked about like, boom, 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 we're gonna come, we're gonna pull the line, this how we gonna do it, this what your lines look like, blase, blase, whoop de woo. And then the Department of Energy and Environment came up and said, these are all the public health risks, not just with lead, like in drinking water, but like in all forms of lead. They did the history and all of that, but then they also talked about like preventative measures. They talked about like, you need to get your kids tested if you have children. If you're a childbirthing person or woman, you need to make sure that you get tested. And I think that that makes the most sense, because, again, it sounds like I'm paper from MLGW today. Think about the people that work at MLGW. Like, man, they be engineers. So, like, I think there has got to be more, and I hate that it's a push. Why you just won't do it? Just do it. You are not only are you the health department, you also in some aspects like are a regulator. Like you are the public health like entity. So, but anyway, I don't want to belabor that, but I think one, we gonna need county attorney. I hope that they listen to this. We need like some type of legal advisement, because this is serious. This is really serious. Okay, go ahead.
And it was about, we encourage people to be citizen scientists. We encourage the community to take serious position of understanding what's happening to our community. When you mentioned the health department, we did the research and we pointed out that the type of fluoride Memphis was using was different than Germantown, Bartlett, etc. And the reason I got involved is that we showed that made the body absorb more lead. And the type that we were actually using had arsenic, lead, and silver in it. Once EPA finally got wind of this about 4 years ago, they found that very company $2 billion. And my point of making is that even when we do research as the community and we bring it to you, let we talk, say, hey, listen to us. They refused. They refused to do that with the E-pipe. We went to New York, we went to Washington, California, had people trained, came back and showed them how we can take care of the pipes on the customer side of the house. They have refused to this day to even hear the presentation. We bought the equipment, we paid for the training, and it can be done. So I'm just saying the community we've reached out, and we need somebody to help us after we do it, listen to us, and then let's debate it. We might not have it right, but we can't even get discussions. And you know firsthand how they just refuse to talk about certain things. As many times as we brought EPA down here and they're appreciative inquiries, my organization, now they won't even respond to me. They won't have meetings with me. They won't respond to my questions. And the questions are legitimate. And I've asked them, what are you going to do? How can you stop the lead water line 2 feet from the house and you're doing the pilot program? What's going to happen with the rest of the lead water line? So my group asked me to get that out, is that we go and we do the research and nobody wants to listen to us. And we're proud to think of ourselves as citizen scientists. Maxine, and you met a lot of the older people. They in the 70s and the 80s. And they were like, Chip, we do all of this study and we do all this, and then nobody pays us any attention. So I rest my case. I told them I was going to speak. I appreciate y'all.
Okay.
Always a good to hear from you, Jack. Sincerely.
Yep. So my sincerest apologies if anyone would like to provide comment. I'll place my email address in the chat box because we are a little bit behind, and I'll be happy to address any of those things offline. All right. So because we don't have quorum, the next item is approval of the minutes from September the 4th. 2024, we will just be able to acknowledge them on the record. However, we will not be able to vote to approve them. Also, I want to note on the record that we did receive ahead of time that LPC member Sharon Hyde had a conflict tonight, so she wasn't able to join. I also, and I need this to be routine because it is what it is, because we've been having a significant issue with people being not present at these meetings for many, many meetings. So this might have to be something that comes up like in the January meeting, but like this is unacceptable. For if you're not gonna be active in this seat, you need to go. So right now we only have 3 members that we mentioned during roll call. We also had Vice Chair Eric Stevenson, who is now joined as well. There's literally only 4 people out of more than 4, out of 6, that come to these meetings consistently. The other 2 never come. And I'm just going to leave it at that. All right. Any questions about the September 4th minutes? Since we can't vote on them, we can look at them.
Instead of review, I don't call anything that stands out.
Okay. Oh, one quick thing. I did do my due diligence as I'm looking at this. I did follow up with Representative Pearson and Councilman Smiley and Mayor Young about making the connection between gun violence and lead, but I didn't hear anything back from them. But I did want to acknowledge on the record that I did my due diligence to engage. I will send my sincerest condolences to Representative Pearson, who just recently lost his brother. So I do want to extend grace there. I'm happy to do an additional follow-up with that particular comment from the September meeting. Right. Cool. So we'll go to the next agenda item under old business. Woo, Lord, Lord, Lord. So the first item is the update on the MLGW violation of EPA and the RRP training. All right. I don't even know if who needs to listen to this is gonna hear it, but I'm just gonna warn you that this is not about to be cute. So this particular complaint was brought to this body a year ago. Actually, there was an anonymous tip that was given to me as well by somebody that I really want to make sure that they are protected. That is reflective of the county that also provided a complaint that was confirmed with this particular violation. When we received this, the irony that not only were members of this body here, this was the same night that we heard from the health department when they did updates on the blood lead level data, right? I'm so glad that they were here so that they can hear that, so that they can realize the legitimacy and the importance of this body. All right. So once this complaint came in, per usual, I did my due diligence and I emailed Memphis Light Gas and Water. I specifically emailed two people. I emailed Manuel Villanueva and I also emailed Margie Burham Smith. So I did a summary per usual of what the complaint was. I also provided a digital copy of what was left at this meeting a year ago, which was a confirmed report from an address with elevated lead levels due to there being inappropriate engagement, like from a weatherization project, like with window units, probably doors, where essentially these individuals were not trained and disturbed lead and probably spread lead all over these people's houses. Now, that was for that particular address, but it also raised flags. How many other contractors do you have that's not trained, that's going in the most vulnerable people's houses to do this work? Okay. All right. So I sent it to Margie Burham Smith. And so she said, acknowledge, and she'll do an investigation. Okay. She just left it. Wait. I sent it to Manuel first. So I'm assuming that might be her boss. I don't know. And so he immediately was like, nope, this is her. And so he took hands off and put her back on the spot because that's her program. All right. I reached out to this woman five times. 4 out of the 5 times, she kept saying that it was under investigation. The 5th email, I got a tip from a member of the general public who I will allow to remain nameless, that essentially said that Margie Burham Smith sent an email out to existing contractors that do weatherization services with her MLGW email and essentially admitted guilt and said, it has come to my attention that there are some contractors that have not been trained that need to be trained. And also there are some contractors that have expired training certifications. I like doing them a favor, like, here are some options for you to get trained. But you told me that you was doing an investigation. So I circled back to Margie Burham Smith and told her, hey, I got a tip that you sent out an email to some contractors and admitted fault that there were contractors that had not been trained and did not get the appropriate certification. And you didn't say anything to me. You didn't give me no update. You didn't respond to our requests. Our requests were, if you messed up, you messed up. Own it and do the right thing. We asked you, would you do the right thing? Go to all of them different places. You're going to have to do some work on behind the scenes, do your job that you didn't do the first time. Figure out which contractors went to which house out of the contractors that were not trained. And you need to, on your dime, with MLGW's dime, you need to do testing. And if you find out that it's elevated levels, then on your dime, you need to do the remediation. And the fact that you are so disgusting and have a complete lack of regard for humanity as a Black woman in a Black city is disgusting, that you will remain silent, and that we gave you an out and told you what to do, and you still want to be nasty and evil and not say anything about it. Fine. In addition to this, because I got time today, I put the county on notice saying, hey, this is a big issue. You probably want to do something about this. While I understand that the county is not the city, where they don't have the same type of influence, as Shelby County Commission does not fund MLGW, but you still have programs that deal with lead paint. It's still interconnected, okay? So the county attorneys just said, okay, do you mind if we send this to somebody? I said, sure, do what you need to do. Okay. This was in February that I sent it to them because this black woman who don't care about other black people, Margie Barham Smith, was silent. You know who else was silent? The county attorneys. I didn't hear anything else from them. Now keep in mind, it's going on and on again. EPA also ineffective. They were also put on notice about their own rule being violated, and they still didn't say anything. All right, bet. I got time today. So, because we are a commission that has assigned attorneys that clearly don't care, all right, say less. So, what I did as a law abiding citizen, because I'm a constituent and a taxpayer of Memphis and Shelby County, I secured counsel on my own for the protection and preservation of my people. Okay. And so, as of yesterday, we served a notice to President Doug McGowan saying, this is what happened. Don't ever play no games with me. All them emails that I sent to you, sis, your boss got it. Okay? All of the correspondence that you ignored, your boss got it. Now, I tried to give you an out and I tried to practice, let me just talk to the person that's responsible. I'm trying not to go to your boss, but you made it that way. So respectfully, if I don't hear back from Doug McGowan by December the 31st, just know that in January it's going to be different. All right, the next layer of this. So the county attorney essentially said, well, because you use the capacity in my other hats that I wear as if we can separate the two, that they can advise. I let you know from day one what was going on and you didn't advise. I literally sought counsel on my own because you were silent and you didn't care. I really don't give a damn about what you can advise on. So just know, and I really hope that they listening, that it's on. I am so sick and tired of these assigned attorneys. I'm sick and tired of these county staff members, specifically from the mayor's office. This is Lee's commission, right? This is his commission. This is one of the first commissions that he got established in his first term. I want to believe and to be optimistic that he would find this to be a problem and he would find that his staff is being negligent and dare I say disgusting, not to even do anything to completely be silent on this issue. So on the record, I have extreme problem with the assigned county attorneys, respectfully, sis, not just you as an individual. This is problematic. It's a problem. So if everybody got to go down for it, if I need to step down as LPC, then I don't give a damn. I will do it because you're not going to be silent using my taxpayer dollars, your taxpayer dollars, okay, and not say nothing. So that's the update there because I'm not going to have this on my conscience and on my spirit for me to know that it's people that's using money that's reflective of taxpayer dollars and you going up into black seniors' homes and spreading lead all over their house. And EPA is just as disgusting and vile. They gonna catch hell as well. Yep. Ooh, so let me calm down. I had time today. I'm extremely upset and I am disgusted. I am utterly disgusted with the lack of regard for humanity. And the fact that I got to tussle with you and go through all of this, and then to add insult to injury for the attorneys to say, can you send me the information? Like, I don't know. You got the damn information. You just don't care. So that was my update on that. Is it any questions about this?
I wish I could talk with. I know I talk too much out there. I appreciate y'all. So yeah, I feel the same way. They would snap their fingers. I'm with you.
Oh, my other update with this, I am going to put County commission on notice. A lot of them don't give a damn either. Whenever the first meeting is, county commission meeting, I will be making public comment on this issue and some more updates that we have on here as well. I don't give a damn how anybody feels. I don't care if I'm gonna make some enemies. I don't care, because I'm God's child and I'm gonna do God's work. So if that means that you gonna be tussled up in your spirit because I told your business, then so be it. So that's my next step, is public shaming, and know who I am and know my connections to media as well. All right. That's what I got for that item. All right. You good on that one? All right. The next one. All right. This one is for some optimism. All right. So in February, Senator London Lamar and Representative Jesse Chisholm, keep him lifted as well, as he just lost his father. The services are tomorrow. Um, Introduced the bill essentially calling for mandated lead level testing for incoming kindergartners. Um, the state, with them being who they are, put a fiscal note that was inaccurate on this bill literally within hours before it went on the committee floor for a vote, and it got voted down because of the fiscal note. Our state legislature, they don't care about kids being poisoned. They just don't want to spend no money. And so it didn't fail completely in committee. There were actually sort of the majority of the committee like were a part of the GOP. And there were two Republican committee members and one Democratic committee member that actually voted in favor, which is unusual. And so we're confident that if it is structured appropriately, that it could potentially pass. We think that the biggest hurdle was the fiscal note. Also, the bill was kind of like a wish. We kind of knew that it wasn't going to get passed. We put everything in there. We was like, you need to make sure that when the kids are being there, when they're getting ready to enter into a juvenile facility, that you actually do your due diligence to see if the child had ever been lead poisoned, so you can provide the appropriate wraparound services, which is really good. They really should keep it in there. But I think in order to get it across the finish line, we might have to scale back on it in order for it to go through. So Senator Lamar has agreed to reintroduce the bill for this next session. Now, what's good for this next session is it's starting over. So you have 2 years now to get a bill passed. Now, here's the caveat. We do have to get somebody on the House side to do the, what do you call it, the companion bill. Last time it was Representative Jesse Chisholm, which we love Jesse Chisholm. I'm gonna be honest and transparent. We need a good white boy that can engage both sides of the aisle. Our legislature don't like black people, and so I think that that is going to be a better strategy. So essentially, um, we're gonna have to strategize around that. There were some individuals that have been identified that may be interested in doing a co-sponsorship. Um, we also, my recommendation to Senator Lamar was to look at former Senator Lee Harris and now current Mayor Lee Harris, the bill that he got passed during his tenure as senator. It was bipartisan. It got passed. It didn't get a whole lot of pushback. It didn't have a fiscal note. So we're trying to see what we can learn about what he did to get that bill passed. And maybe that may have some implications around what we can do for this particular bill going into the next legislative session. Um, the next thing is around amending the school drinking water bill, which is the bill that I was alluding to that former State Senator Lee Harris introduced. We actually, when now Senator Lamar was Representative Lamar, she actually carried this bill on the House side, but COVID happened, and so it didn't die, it just stalled because our lives were in shambles at that time. And so also at the time, under the previous Lord have mercy superintendent, their lobbyists blocked that bill as well.
Because of the
So
fiscal implications?
yep. And it really ain't that much. I used to work for Memphis County School. It did not incur that great of a cost, but whatever. Um, but nevertheless, because we have a new lead and copper rule, they have already changed the level of remediation. So it literally would just be to align the bill to the federal requirement. So we don't anticipate there to be very much pushback there. Um, and then also the state the state isn't weird about the child testing. I know they also still have, and I need to follow up with the state. They had that child care facility money. Well, it's voluntary, but it seems to be buy-in, about like testing the schools for lead. So we don't think that that one would get too much pushback. The blood lead level one, we did have the state, the Tennessee Department of Health. They pushed back. They don't know that I know that they pushed back, but they did. They don't want to do it. I don't care. Specifically, no, they didn't want. They don't want it to be mandatory because that means that it would be more work for them to do. Now, what I did see legislators look at, because we took the Tennessee Department of Health's report on blood lead level across the state. There are some counties that have had 1% testing for years, for 5 years. Madison County and Jackson, 1%. Jackson, besides what, Nashville, got the most black folks, right? So that's problematic. It's probably a myriad of kids that are falling in between the cracks, but this is not a report that's on their radar. So anyway, so those are the two bills that will be a part of the legislative agenda going into 2025. Um,
I think the community awareness will help these bills.
oh, for
When
sure.
the community become aware of how serious our problem is. 10
Mm-hmm.
parts per billion for our kids is death. I mean,
Yep.
because they already got a body burden. That's the key thing. That needs to
Well,
be
right
talked
now
about.
it's between 15 and 20, so we're gonna take it one step at a time. Yep. At least we
Right,
got a
right.
bill. At least we got a bill because this is not. It's not mandated to test. It is not mandated to test.
Right.
Tennessee is one of the few that actually has a state law that makes it mandatory.
There's some white communities, there's some white states that are doing very well. I mean, they're very strict about it.
No,
Colorado, okay.
that nope. So Colorado they're about a C. The strongest place in the United States with testing for lead in school drinking water is DC. DC has the strongest bill. Massachusetts is up there. Colorado is okay, but they still got a C. I think a lot of them, and DC ain't perfect either, they fall short on the child care facility
Right.
part. That's complicated. I ain't gonna beat them up about that because when you talk about child care facilities, it also includes home-based daycares. That gets real interesting. One, because it's inconsistent. So with your mom and pop type of daycares, they might be open in February and gone for a little while in March and April and come back in May. So they fluctuate because I mean, like they doing business at a house keeping folks' kids, but you still have to be licensed. But I do agree, like on the awareness, but I just for the purposes of this agenda item, it's just saying this is what the legislative items are. But I want to open it up for discussion, and then we can't vote on anything. But if there's something else that we want to consider from a legislative perspective, it also doesn't have to be at the state level. It could be something local as well.
I mean, is there a local will?
It's so much the way that Memphis carried on at the school board meeting. When I tell you, I don't really know. Are we gonna have a superintendent in January? So this is.
I plan to look at that next week.
So I don't know. I don't know. I know we probably get an interim. It's gonna be in such disarray, and I think next year is the testing year. So, because it's biannual,
Mhm.
so they will be testing either in the summer or the fall of 2025. So, sure, but that's a good question. Um, I think at one point London did recommend that, but with the previous superintendent, not the interim. Um, I mean, he had lobbyists kill the bill, so there wasn't any buy-in. Um, so, well, let me say this: there wasn't any buy-in from the administration. That may not have necessarily reflected the school board, but we didn't. I mean, COVID hit, so we couldn't do any more strategizing around it. But that's a good question. Like, if it failed, if the bill fails in the state legislature, then we may be able to see if we could do something local. Um, yeah. Okay. Anything else on this one? No. Okay, cool. All right. Another one that I'm pissed about. The LPC has had vacancies since our inception. When there were previous leadership that were part of Mayor Harris's original team, so the former chief of staff, who was very instrumental in actually getting this commission up and running. She endorsed it and spoke on our behalf, and we now have this commission. And then also, I forgot what this individual's actual role was, but they were phenomenal. Since those individuals have left, it is very clear that like this body is not taken seriously. I have asked probably at least 10 times within the last 5 years about these vacancies. This has been a recurring agenda item. I was told in writing by a county staff person back in July that they had other priorities, and this was not one of them. This individual told me this in writing, and that they would let me know when it becomes a priority. I then had a conversation out of frustration with our assigned attorney, pretty much saying we have expired LPC members on here who are still active. We also have expired LPC members who are not active. We also have a health department seat where this individual does not come to these meetings. So, and their seat is up in January. We need to get serious about this so that we can have people that actually want to be here and work to be in these seats. We made a recommendation, damn near 2 years ago, about folks that wanted to join, that went through the process, they applied. I keep asking because they're asking me. And so I'm asking the county to be met with such a response. And on the record, I sent that email where they said that this was a priority. I sent it verbatim to those people that wanted to apply. This is an issue. I have made it clear to our assigned attorney that I would like to meet with the mayor. I'm done. I'm tired of his staff. I'm telling on them. I'm sick of it. And so essentially they said, well, can we at least like engage with the chief of staff? That's fair because that was typically the individual that we would engage with anyway. But it's been so much turnover. I know who the chief of staff was. So apparently it's a new person. When said individual that said that this commission wasn't a priority, when I followed up with them again, that's when they said, oh, I don't even do that anymore. It's this person, disrespectful. And so essentially that person was on ghost again. And then literally today, I want to quickly read it on the record, just so you can know that I got time today, because I'm tired of these folks. This is what I told this individual. Good afternoon. Following back up here, while we have been told previously that this commission was not a priority to fill vacancies by certain county staff members, we really wish that mindset will shift as there is a lead poisoning crisis in Shelby County. We are certain that lead poisoning is a concern of our mayor. It appears that the county has had some significant transition from when the LPC was established in 2019. This commission was newly created under the leadership of Mayor Harris in his first term and was 100% driven by community members and advocates. It has been an honor to serve under Mayor Harris's leadership. However, patterns of disregard from county staff members has had negative impacts on participating community members. This is not fair to the legacy established by Mayor Harris and certainly not to his constituents. and transparency, the current disregard of this body of passionate advocates has been disheartening. We are stretched super thin and have gone over 5 years without vacancies being filled, even with nominations submitted. At least 10 requests have been made over the past 5 years. 2025 will mark 6. We hope that constituents are valued and we hear from you soon. As mentioned, our meeting is tonight. So I'll provide updates like I'm doing right now. So when I sent that, because they had ignored me for almost a week, they then responded because they was not at work the last time. I don't know what they got going on, but they said, thank you for your email. I am out of the office and I will respond when I return. Thank you. And I hope that they do that. I want that to be on the record. And when I go before county commission, I'll make sure that I talk about this on the record as well because I'm tired and I got time today. I need to look at the web. I think they haven't said it yet because I think I looked today and I didn't see it. Mhm. All right. So that's my update there. It's really pathetic and disgusting. The audacity to tell me, and pretty much in my face in writing, sis, that this is not a priority was pretty messed up. Let me also add a caveat just to show you how disrespectful the mayor's staff is. And this is so disrespectful to him because he operates from a place of excellence. The county attorney that's assigned to this commission stepped in and said, hey, what's she gonna do? Like, what is the progress of this? They didn't respond to her either. They didn't respond to an attorney, a county attorney. So the hell with me then if you want to respond to a county attorney. So I mean, like, I'm at my wits' end. So because this is a mayoral appointed and county confirmed, I'm gonna go to county commission and I'm gonna go to the mayor. So, all right, any questions about that? One thing that we can't vote on that I did want to get opinions on, I would like to engage a sitting member of county commission to serve on this board. I inquired to the assigned attorney what was the process. I'm gonna read that too. I don't care. I got time today. All right. So I inquired what that process entailed. All right. So I said, what is the process if a county commissioner joins a commission? And so the individual wanted to make sure that wanted to make sure that I was talking about the LPC. I confirmed that that's what I was referring to. And so the individual said that they would presume that we would follow the bylaws, and that's always the response. The bylaws. We are the appointed and confirmed body. We don't have the power to, we really don't necessarily have the power to nominate. We just created a process because we didn't receive any guidance, right? And so this was my response. Got time today. I said, our bylaws don't explicitly speak to appointments. We just created a process on our own. So even though the commission is county confirmed by county commission, they would have to be nominated by the mayor and go before their elected peers to be confirmed. Is that the process that happened with the following commissions? Did this happen with the Asia Commission on the Mid-South with Commissioner Henry Brooks? Did it happen with the Agri-Center Commission with Commissioner Shantae Avant? Did it happen with the Chickasaw Basin Authority with Commissioner Amber Mills? Did it happen with the Downtown Memphis Commission with Commissioner Mikhail Lowry? Did it happen with, the Edge Board with Commissioner Henry Brooks? I sure don't remember that. Did it happen with the EOC Appeals Board with 3 commissioners, Shantae Avant, David Bradford, and Chairwoman Miska Clay Bibbs? Did it happen with the Juvenile Court Committee with, once again, Commissioner Henry Brooks? Did it happen with the Memphis Convention and Visitors Bureau Board with Commissioner Mikhail Lowry? Did it happen with the Public Records Commission with Commissioner Charlie Caswell? Did it happen with the Shelby County Agricultural Extension Committee with 3 commissioners, Shantae Avant, Brittany Thornton, and Michael Whaley? Did it happen with the Shelby County Retirement Board with Commissioner Mikhail Lowry and Chairwoman Miska Clay Bibbs? Did it happen with the Shelby County Beer Board with Commissioner Mick Wright, Did it happen with the Shelby Farms Park Conservancy with Commissioner Shantae Avant? Did it happen with at all? Also with Michael Whaley? Did it happen with the Tennessee County Commissioners Association? I don't even know what that is, with Chairwoman Miss Clay Bibbs. Did it happen with the Memphis Shelby County Crime Commission with Commissioner Charlie Caswell? And did it happen with the Shelby County Healthcare Corporation Regional 1 Board? Because those are all the commissions that have sitting commissioners. So what was their process? So the individual said they will need to ask another attorney, and they asked me to follow up via email. Because it sounds like you was trying to just tell me something, but what's the process? See, that's what's going on with this county. They make up stuff that's not grounded in policy. Show me the policy and the procedure, and stop playing in my face. So that was the update there. So I hope to get a response to that, because I need somebody to see this. I need somebody that's got some authority to see this. Should we be able to select or nominate somebody from county commission? At the next meeting, we'll need to determine, and hopefully we'll have some insight about what the procedure is and the process is for a commissioner to be a part of this commission. And then in the absence of an actual protocol for nominations, we can bring it up for discussion about who that particular commissioner would be. So that's my very robust update on the vacant LPC seats. Any point of communication, not communication, any points of discussion on that agenda item? No. All right. Now this makes me really happy. Okay, next agenda item is a debrief of the 2024 Lead Poisoning Prevention Week. I hate to put you on the spot, Secretary Woods, but I do want to hear from you. I didn't have an opportunity to go, but my staff and my other hat with my organization was present. My organization was also a sponsor, a paid sponsor. For this event. It was absolutely beautiful. I want to send kudos and shout outs on the record under the leadership of Anita Tate. I mean, if we can replicate this sister across the board, the world would be a better place. It was absolutely phenomenal. My team members really enjoyed themselves. They did a really good job, not as just with making sure that the community and the families and children that showed up enjoyed themselves, but it very much so was on brand with making sure that people truly understood how important lead poison prevention was. But Matthew, you want to give some tidbits?
It was an outstanding event. The city lead team was there. The county lead paint program was there. The community showed out. I remember the Melrose marching band. They marched and they had the drum corps there. There were so many vendors there, Latricia. I lost count of how many vendors there. It was a day full of fun and food and packed activities. There was a photo booth. There was activities for kids. It was at the Orange Mountain Community Center. That's a beautiful facility.
It is. I was like, did they remodel it?
I'm thinking so. They got
Okay.
a pool in there. We didn't use the pool this
Jazzy.
time. But I'm so proud to have that facility in our community. It was a beautiful event. It was all day, and we left tired, but the good kind of tired.
Mm-hmm.
Like something positive happened. I'm glad I could be there.
Yay! First of all, the fruit layout was so good. They had lead test in there too. Okay, very good.
There were so many things you could track off. I saw them setting up. A couple of nurses was there, taking fingerprints out the week.
Okay.
And we took applications for folks who needed help in the community, as far as water paint hazards and whatnot. So.
Yeah, I really, I hope that this is a recurring event. I mean, it was phenomenal. It looked like it had a really good turnout too, and I like the connection to Halloween too. So that was cute, and the healthy snacks was nice touch. Yeah, so it was really good. Happy that it was so much effort that went into that. We need positivity in our life, my God.
They planned for weeks. Patricia.
I could tell. I could tell that they planned a long time because that was excellent. Um, all right, I forgot to put my email in this chat box for the virtual folks. I apologize. I'm doing that right now. And I always forget my own email address because I don't email myself, right? Okay. There we go. Right. 1 second. There we go. Right. Up and then, of course, I still spelled it wrong. Y'all forgive me. It's been a long day and week. All right. There we go. I got it right that time. Okay. So next item, I'm trying to hurry up because I know we're getting close to 7:30. Because it's another thing that's a new business that's also gonna get me real fired up. All right, so this next one for the pollution reduction plan, I mean, because it's so raggedy right now, with the manner in which staff is responding to this body, I'm gonna actually table that particular not line item. It's budget season, reconciliation season. I'm going to table that item and actually move to new business. With this first item, we actually talked about this in great detail during public comment, so I'm not going to repeat that. I'm going to say on the record, I'm actually personally very proud of Light Gas and Water. I mean, when I first started doing this work coming back home in 2017, we literally went from somebody telling me that they didn't know that they had issues with lead service lines to this being a full-fledged plan. I know I pushed real hard, real hard, real hard, both at the local level as well as the federal level to even get the bill, not the bill, the rule that is making sure that MLGW and water utility providers across the country are truly doing their due diligence. I was specifically really proud of President McGowan for hosting a roundtable. Pretty much with the joint letter that was sent to MLGW back in November 2023. He invited everybody that was actually a part of that letter. I think that was that was very good for him to do that. They appear to be very receptive to feedback, which has not historically really been the case. So I'm looking forward to um, what they'll do with trying to get this pilot off the ground. Now, one thing that I will say, they did do a call for bids and they didn't get any back. We think that it may be because the way that the bid is structured. So the bid targets plumbers, which I get it, like it makes sense because that's who will be doing the job. But the plumbers might not necessarily have the wherewithal and capacity to be able to do some of the logistical parts that's associated with doing the lead service line replacement. It's real involved. I've seen it with my own eyes. So we're actually going to, I'm going to get some insight from some of the like other partner like community organizations to see if there may need to be some tweaking to that bid. Because I don't want that to be like the cause of why it's delayed because they can't find anybody. But all in all, I mean, I'm proud of them. They pretty much did everything that we asked them to do. We still want a community advisory. Um, this was a good first step, like with the round table. I also like the PR that they did around it as well. They did a press conference. I think that was good also. Um, so President McGowan did say that he, will be looking to have another roundtable in early 2025. Also, last thing on this item, um, Congressman Cohen, and it looks like he's gonna have to reintroduce it. He introduced the bill where essentially it's interesting, where it's good, but it has some housing built in there too. But it would give a tax incentive to like property owners to do the replacement. Um, which I like that. I mean, whatever it's going to take for people to do what they need to do. That specifically helps with renters also because they can't give consent.
Right.
They be scared that it's going to make their rent go up. So I'm proud of MLGW because that was also one of our requests to them is to try to get as much coin as possible to actually do the service line replacement so that we don't have no money. We're poor in Memphis and it's expensive to do that replacement. So I am also in support of that bill. And so I guess when we talked about the legislative agenda, that would also be a part of the legislative agenda as well, but that would be at the federal level. I did, and I'll be following back up with Congressman Cohen. I do think that I think the first time that they introduced it, it was bipartisan. So they did have, both sides of the aisle on the bill. Um, I'm also going to look at some other members of Congress and within my own personal relationship that I know have special interest in water and lead, i.e. Michigan. I have a lot of relationships with members of Congress and the Senate in the state of Michigan to see if they would do so Cohen's office is doing a colleague letter to see if some other people will be co-sponsors. All right, so that's the update there. Any questions about that
Do you
item?
happen to know what the the number? I'm
The
sorry.
bid number?
No,
Oh.
the Congressman Cohen's bill. Do you know what it's happening?
Uh,
If you don't, it's fine. You don't have to look it
all
up.
right. It's in my email. I can tell you. Let's see. It might be. Mm-mm. Okay. Okay. The name of the bill is the Home Lead Safe. Is the dang? It moved too quick. Hold on. It is called the Home Lead Safety Tax Credit Act, and this actually was introduced a long time ago. He actually introduced it in 2021. So it looks like he's been trying to keep it moving. So it looks like he must have reintroduced it what 3 times. I think he needs some people to co-sponsor it. So like he needs some heavy hitters, but he has Schumer. That's a big one on the Senate side. So it may be he may need some help like trying to get some people to sponsor it. That tax incentive, the tax incentive is definitely cute on both sides of the aisle. Right. So I think that's really smart. So um but that, it's an interesting one because it's not just exclusively around water, which is smart because another issue that we don't really talk about is lead in the actual pipes inside of the house and in the faucets. So, I mean, it's not illegal. I mean, and a long time ago, it absolutely wasn't. So you can get your full service line replaced, but if you got lead at the source, it could still leach.
It's still leaching out.
So but that's the update there. That's positive. I hope that it passes. We shall see. Next item. Woo! This one. Actually, I'm gonna come back to B because B is one where I'm about to be real upset. So I'll go to C and D, and then I'll come back to B. Oh dang! I'm gonna come back to B. Let me just go through this quickly. All right, with C, with the lead and copper rule improvements, it came out in October. Very excited. I have not gone through this thing because it's like 800 plus pages, very robust, but very exciting. Um, I don't have anything else to say like about that one. I mean, I think we talked about it and from an implementation perspective a lot tonight. Also, another update that is adjacent to that one is in October, President Biden invested $26 million for testing for lead in school drinking water. And that also is inclusive of childcare facilities. Interestingly enough, during the Trump administration, They also allocated some funding to go into testing for child care facilities. So that will give them some more money. Now, I will say what I did not like with the new lead and copper rule improvements, it still doesn't make it mandatory to do testing in schools and child care facilities. So that's why I'm like, kudos to the state of Tennessee. We got a bill. All states don't have a law. So that's the update there. I am following up with the state to see what they did with their money, the money that they got during the Trump administration. And I specifically want to know what came to Shelby. Hopefully they won't make me do a, what you call it, a FOIA, because that seems to be popular. So I'm gonna keep it cute. So they'll let me know who they work with. It's not to be like facetious. I mean, I'm just really curious. Like, did anybody take advantage of it from Shelby County? A FOIA is,
Freedom of information.
yeah, like a public records request. Yeah, so that's the update there. Blood lead level data report request. I did a request to the health department to come back to this body to do another update on blood lead level testing. And so Director Taylor was not available for this meeting. And so we do need to set the schedule or meeting dates for 2025. And I said that I will follow up, anticipating that she will be able to come early in 2025. And I also said this, especially since we have a sitting member that works for the health department, that they could send a surrogate. But it's always good to have the absolute boss to come and do the presentation. So I'm cool either way, just as long as this body is made abreast of where we are with blood level testing. I'll come back to the meeting dates. All right, this is the last item before we get to the meeting dates, because I'm about to get spicy again. All right, under new business, where's this? Item B, cancellation of RFP 25-0009-07 Environmental Justice Led Grant Phase 2. Let's quickly go way back in time. In 2021, when the American Rescue Plan rolled out, aka the COVID money came out, people were spending money all willy-nilly, including like the government. And so we were like, there needs to be some money that's invested in environmental justice. So in 2021, this body began to discuss what did that look like. In addition to this body, there were other community organizations that also were like, yes, there needs to be investment in environmental justice. Okay. So this body did two things. So one, we reached out to members of county commission. None of them are actually in those seats anymore, because this was several years ago at this point. Thank you to former commissioners Tammy Sawyer, Van Turner, and Willie Brooks, who were the three commissioners that were very diligent with listening to these recommendations from community. Those individuals brought this recommendation to the floor. It was actually former Commissioner Sawyer who actually sponsored the bill. The bill passed unanimously, where the resolution that was drafted stated that $160,000, is not that much money, would be allocated to environmental justice initiatives. Now, we know that with resolutions, they're broad on purpose. In the resolution, it does not explicitly say that that funding had to go to a community-based organization or a nonprofit, an NGO, or what have you. However, on the record, when the resolution passed, in dialogue, it was brought up that this came from community. Also, I did two presentations before county commission, also advocating for this particular resolution to pass. All right. The bill passed and was signed in February of 2022. All right. Was it 20? Wait, yeah, 2022. What year we in?
24.
24. All right. So then, it takes a while for, folks to get their juices flowing. And I read her 741. So in August of 2022, I followed back up with the county, but it had been transitioned. So the individuals that I typically would talk to did not work for the county anymore. So I'm like, I don't know who I'm supposed to talk to. So anyway, I reached out to county commission and I said, where's this money? This y'all bill, where's this money? I'm just curious. This body brought it before you. All right. So I reached out to two commissioners. The commissioners put their assigned staff that works with the county commission in the email, pretty much like, hey, this constituent wants to know where this money at. Where is it? Here's the caveat. I did not use my county email to do the inquiry because I don't trust the government and I don't want to be accused of being a lobbyist. I felt that if I emailed something about money through my county email, if somebody came for me, it could potentially look like I was lobbying and using my power to influence getting some money. And that wasn't the case, but people be lying. All right. So it started to get spicy for no reason in this exchange. I just want to know where the money was. All right. So it was tussling back and forth via email. This county person brought a county attorney into the conversation. The county attorney got real nasty, and I had to read them down as well. So it did came out to be that the former director of CSA, community service or whatever, it was in their budget. That person didn't know that it was in their budget because that staff that's responsible for making sure that they make other staff abreast of stuff coming to their budget, she said she did a job. Apparently she didn't. All right. So I said, can you give me said individual's email address? Or you could have just put the person in the email. Said attorney said, well, since you're emailing from your other email, then you would need to do a public records request to get this email. I would think that you would use your county email and the directory to get the email. I said, because I follow ethics, I'm asking you right here because I don't want to abuse my power and for y'all to come back and say that I'm abusing my power. Do you want me to talk to the woman or not, sis? All right. So finally said individual, bless her heart, this individual, that's the former director, former, not the current, the former director, sweet as pie, apologized and was just like, I hate you went through all of that. I don't deal with environment. It's still connected to community. Said individual brought in the staff person that typically works with environment. All right. So there have been some collaboration with me representing this body with those county staff members to figure out what was going to be the environmental justice initiative. So it came up that it was going to be lead. Since the Lead Prevention Commission is the one that helped to bring it forward, that made sense. I let that be a consensus because I didn't want nobody coming for me. All right. RFP went up in January 2023. We think I got to do a public records request. Apparently, I think only 2 applicants applied, but I want to confirm. But we did have a member, thank you, Chair, Vice Chair Stevens, where essentially like it ended up only being one person that was one organization that was awarded because the other organizations, their EEOC had expired, and so they were deemed ineligible. It's kind of problematic, respectfully, that neither one of them organizations are actually environmental justice organizations, but we're going to let that go. All right. So the one organization that did get it, they only did $50,000 because they didn't feel like going through the rigmarole where it had to go in front of county commission because it was over a certain amount. That meant that it was $110,000 left. I had to reach back out to the county because they stopped communicating with us about this process to say, what you do with the rest of the $110,000? I don't think that they expected me to ask that. And so then they were like, we're going to do a rebid. We're going to open it back up and do a phase 2. This brings us to what's on the agenda to this next phase. All right. They opened up the RFP again for phase 2. That RFP was due like mid-October of this year. because these are ARPA funds, we on a tight deadline. You have until 2026 to spend that money, but they all have to, the funding has to be committed by December the 31st of this year. Committed. It said awarded, it said committed. All right, so the same organization where they have been deemed ineligible, they applied again and we just exhaust the money out, okay? Because we're gonna lose it. All right, so I don't know if anybody in here has gone through an RFP process. It is tedious and arduous. They went through the process again to apply. In November, they did two things, 2 days, maybe 2 days apart. The organization that was awarded in phase one, they got their contract, okay, in November. Keep in mind, the RFP went up in January of 2023. 2023. Okay, just got that contract. Maybe 2 days later, the other organization got notice of cancellation of the RFP. Said organization reached out and said, why is this canceled? I don't know. You want to know why? Didn't nobody from the county tell us that they canceled this. I don't know where the $110,000 is. All right. So keep in mind, everything that I send, I always copy the county, the assigned county attorney. So I'm like, where is this money? All right. And so the county attorney told me to reach out to another higher up attorney. This attorney was like, I'm trying to catch up because I don't even know what's going on. And so she was just like, can you just do a public records request? Because I really don't know. I think it's because like they ran out of time. And I'm like, that's a lie though. That's a lie. I'm like, first of all, you did the thing in October. You literally had time. There was one more county meeting that was what, last week? You could have got that on the agenda. You did something else with that money. All right. So did the public records request. They had this bullshit, I don't care response that mirrored what she said. It's a lie. And I said that it was a lie. And this individual don't know the backstory. All right. So I said, once again, where that $110,000 at? I emailed the new director, not the nice one. I don't know, sis, this new one. I emailed her. I emailed procurement. I'm like, where the money at? They were silent. They still ain't said nothing to this day. So the county attorney is the one that's been trying to talk. I asked that department though. Okay. Remember that what I talked about earlier, that disrespect from these county staff members? Okay. I still don't know where the money is. Okay. And they weren't saying anything. I told the county attorney, I'm putting county commission on notice. I informed the county commissioner. She's like, what is going on? The county commissioner followed up and emailed county staff. To this day, those staff members that were emailed by a county commissioner have not responded. All right, I got another complaint. People calling me, texting me, emailing me, where now they're like, we were informed by an inside source that CSA from the county gave the money to the health department. So today, it's literally like within hours this week. So I emailed the health department like, did y'all get it? So I did a read receipt thing, looked at it. So this is real nasty. First and foremost, this whole timeline was important because this literally came from community, first and foremost. Second of all, I literally went before county commission twice to talk about this, and you didn't even have the dignity to even come back and tell us what was going on, and now you leaving us on red. You won't tell us where it is. You making this real nasty. You're making this real nasty. I still don't know what a $110,000 is. So, in addition to me being pissed about how this county ignored old black people being poisoned with this lead going everywhere with people that ain't trained, I'm for sure going before county commission and talking about this in 110th. Where is it? Because I want you to say it. I don't want this to be, I believe the person that told me and the complaint that came in, I believe them, but I want you to tell me and you explain to me, one, what are you doing that's connected to environmental justice initiatives? How did you define what the environmental justice initiatives were? And then how does this connect back to community? How? How? So that's where we at. I'm mad. I really hope that somebody listen to this. In fact, I'm going to be petty and make sure that you get it. Because this is disgusting. This is absolutely disgusting and vile. So that's where we are. I still don't know where $110,000. I don't know where it is. So, and we way over time, but any questions, point of discussion? Better knock on the door. We about to leave out.
Oh, okay. We will certainly be on it now. Close at 8.
Yeah, yes,
All right,
ma'am.
thank you.
It's 7:52. Sis, it's okay. Any questions about that?
I appreciate the timeline. It's good to kind of know something because it just kind of went into the ether.
They wasted your time too. The fact that you were a reviewer, they didn't even tell you when they gave anybody an award. They didn't say anything. This incompetence is just wild. And it goes back to like, you don't give a damn. So if I got to bring out some big dogs and get some other people on here and do public shaming and do all of that for you to do what you need to do, then I'm willing to do that. $160,000. And this is the millions of dollars that they got, like that wasn't nothing. I don't know why this organization was just like, we ain't trying to go for all of it.
They applied for like 50.
Yeah.
I think they applied for 50.
And then they also, this organization, they were a little like it's supposed to be for environment, like environmental justice people, which are typically people of color, people from frontline communities. So they were a little bit leery to even apply. But I'm like, I mean, the county don't do any type of publication and telling people that RFPs are open. They do that on purpose. So, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. So that's where we are. Yeah. So last thing, because I know we need to get out of here because the library where we are located is about to close. What we'll do with the LPC dates, I'll follow up in writing to determine when those dates are. It's really important that we get that first date on the calendar. So I mentioned this before. So technically my term, and I think, am I in my second term? Yeah, my second term is up in September of 2025, according to said county staff member when I kept asking about expirations. And it's so on the county website, it doesn't match the resolution incompetence. So on the county website for our commission, it says that you can do a max of 3 terms, but in the resolution, it says 2. They break all the rules anyway, so I mean, I don't know. But that's just something to keep in mind because I'm tired. I am tired, and Fannie Lou Hamer, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. All right. So we are going to adjourn the December 18th, 2024 Shelby County Lead Prevention and Sustainability Commission at 7:55 p.m. All right. Have a great day and happy holidays.